Full time here at the Meadow. Shrewsbury Town have drew with Salford City in the first round of the FA Cup. It's going to be a replay, I think, next Tuesday night, is it?
Yeah, I don't think that's confirmed, but it's penciled in for that. It might, it might
normally
change
the way it goes
for telly, but yeah.
The main talking point leaving the Meadow today has to be the reaction at full time to John Askey. Fairly negative, fairly hostile. Not really what John Askey wanted to see this afternoon, was it?
Here, no, it wasn't what he wanted to hear at the full-time whistle. It was pretty loud, wasn't it, and pretty damning of the manager. There were boos first of all, then there were expletives aimed at the town manager that we won't repeat on this video. I don't think.
You tend to find with things like this that there'll be a reaction like this after a game, and it's always the minority. But I think I have to say today, it probably was the majority inside the Meadow.
It was loud, wasn't it? It was loud, and clearly audible from all sides of the stadium. It was the expletive followed by John Askey's name, and then Askey out chanted. There were videos going around on social media where you can hear that, and it's a shame to hear, isn't it? It really is. I don't know about you, and a few of us have said up there. I was a little surprised, just in that it was a draw. Of course they should have won today. Should have beat a non-league team in Salford, a National League team, who of course aren't a normal National League team.
Yeah, that's got to be said.
Same budget as Shrewsbury's and so on, but they should have won. And maybe it's not, it's not the scoreline. Maybe it was the manner of the performance. It was dull and lacklustre, and that's probably been kind, isn't it?
I think based off what I got from fans, I was obviously interviewing fans outside the stadium after the game. Most of the disappointment for me that I could sense definitely came from the performance. It was slow, disjointed. To be honest, it was dull at times.
Yeah,
there was a lot of disinterest.
If it was a draw, like a 2-2 or a 3-3, obviously you can't hammer it for being a 1-1, but it was a bit of a thriller. Town were really having a go, but they were sloppy at the back or whatever. But it wasn't, was it? I mean, they looked to be plain sailing when they scored on 20-odd minutes, Ollie Norburn, but they just shipped a goal 2 minutes later, switched off, survived a wonder save from Steve Arnold, and then from the corner, third game in a row they've conceded straight from a corner. Adam Rooney scores a bullet header unmarked in a 6-yard box, and but it's the manner that the second half there was no response, no rally was there. Maybe until 85 minutes there wasn't a go on goal in the second half. John Askey's come out and said that he thinks only one team tried to win the game, which I think is a little harsh on Salford. Actually, I thought they were dangerous. I thought Rory Gaffney was the best player, most dangerous player on the pitch.
You mentioned Gaffney. I can think of a couple of chances where he really could have sealed it and sent it away.
They easily came close this second half, didn't they, with that Gaffney shot, and then Gaffney got through on goal and squared it when he shouldn't have squared it, and Town got let off the hook, and they didn't look really to rally until late on, and that's where the frustration came from fans. I think there was no oomph or urgency to go and win a tie. They should be winning. But if they'd lost today, an upset, if they were knocked out, I'd have expected that reaction. Just with how things seem to be at the minute, I'd have probably expected it then. I was a little surprised after a draw, which they're not out of the competition, as the manager says, but I think we're right in saying that it was the manner of the performance, and it was tough to listen to, wasn't it, at full time, and a tough interview as well afterwards.
You mentioned there was no rally in the second half. He was almost reluctant to make the changes too, wasn't he? It was only 2 changes in the end. One of them as well was very late on. Or was it the third very late on?
No, only 2.
Second very late on. That was only in added time anyway as the ball went up. So really, with the way the performance was going, he probably should have made more of an impact, shouldn't he?
Yeah, the subs have been sort of a stick to beat him with all season, really. He's not a keen user of subs early, especially. I mean, in fairness, Lee Angol came on early. That was the one change for Fajiri. I think a lot of fans would have liked to see Fajiri Okenabiri stay on, but Angol was sent for. I think he's still the joint top goal scorer. You're happy with that change, but it wasn't until the 90th minute that Leach and Lewis came on as a second sub. I think when you got Issa and Gilead on the bench, and think of just the 2 attackers there, fans like Issa especially, who's direct, you'll take people on. I think that's what they wanted to see, some attacking intent in the change. They were playing a 4-4-2 diamond, so Issa and Gilead are wingers, but you just change it up, don't you? Or exactly. like Issa can. I know he's coming back to fitness after a long injury, but Issa could play at tip of the diamond, play as one of the 2 strikers. They just wanted to see a bit of going for it, a bit of someone to get them on their feet and excited and look like they were going to score a goal, because I don't think they really did. There's an Angol header late on, weren't there? Other than that, it's just pot shots from outside the box that weren't testing Chris Neal at all, and you could sense the second half the frustration sort of building, couldn't you? You could hear it, but I don't know about you. I was quite surprised by the reaction, and it's a tough one to move on from that, isn't it? They're not out of the competition. They're in the hat for tomorrow's draw, a replay. midweek Tuesday, which ain't going to be easy up at Salford, is it? And the conditions and I'm sure it won't be the best place in the world to go, but looking forward to going there. But in footballing terms, it could be away. I forgot a couple of games before then, haven't we? The Checker Trade on Tuesday at Crewe and a massive league game here on Saturday with Rochester.
I'm going to ask the dreaded question, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Speaking to fans outside the stadium, do you think this is as far as Askey's reign at Shrewsbury goes?
Well, the reaction for the first time, this was clearly the worst it's been from the stands. They've been really supportive and not really been audible boos too often or chants at the manager. Certainly nothing like today. So maybe it feels like a moment in as regards that goes. It's difficult to come back. I think it's difficult to come back from the reaction today. Askey will fight on, and it's up for the people upstairs at the club, isn't it, to make that call. Obviously, a lot of speculation going around, pressure mounting, and it was a horrible tie for him today. To play a non-league side who.
They're not a non-league side. I mean, as we pulled into the car back before the game, their players' coach came past us, and to be honest, it is what you see at
Swanky,
at the Hawthorns or even at Molineux. Is that kind of kind of coach? Their budget's insane. Their highest earners are running more than Shrewsbury's highest earners. I mean, it was an ultimate banana skin for John Askey today, wasn't it?
It's almost like no win, wasn't it? If you got the win, that was just expected, and anything else picked up on. I mean, I don't know what the reaction would have been like if Salford would have won it today, but. That was tough at full time. They got, in the press conference, in the post-match press conference with the manager there, to myself, he reeled off his record in the last 8 games, which is won 4 of them, lost just 3, and drawn the one today. You can't argue with that record over 8 games. Really, it's mid-table League One form, which is fine. Obviously, the start's killed them a bit now with where they are, but they're 18th. The league position, I think, is a bit irrelevant. They're 3 points off 14th, which is brilliant. Not brilliant, sorry, but which is better than it could be. They could be in the bottom 4. And the performances, isn't it? Like today, that you've got to look at the performances, and did they really? They worked hard. I think they worked hard, but I think it was just flat and a bit limp. And
very flat,
uninspiring. Lack of invention, maybe. Just struggled to carve anything out, did they? They didn't test. They didn't look.
And I think it was clear to see with half an hour to go that it wasn't working. I thought personally of the midfield diamond. I think apart from Grant, I think the other 3 are very similar, or they looked very similar today. And there was nothing.
No one making a difference.
Nothing was going to change. There was no one making that difference. Something that maybe on his day Sean Morley would have done.
Yeah. It's huge days ahead. Clearly, the league game next week. We talk about Crewe and the Checker Trade, but it's a bit by the by, isn't it? There's going to be wholesale changes on Tuesday. You think about the next league game. Obviously he's under pressure, and this was a hard one for him today. There's an obvious banana skin. They're not out of the competition. They haven't lost, but they were lacklustre, and the manner of the performance that's got to fans. I think maybe a few people have tweeted me saying, it was the build-up. Build up of frustration for a few weeks, maybe. We know what it's been like on social media. That you don't really often use that as a gauge to see how things are. But when it gets to the stands like it was today, then you worry. I would say you worry, but the manager's going to fight on clearly. And we've got to remember also last week twice the club, through Chief Executive Brian Caldwell, came, went on the radio, did a video backing their manager, saying that the reports put out in the national press were a pack of lies and so on like that. Last week after Wimbledon, where he got a great win in the league, an important win, where it was win or bust, as the manager said, got a crucial win. The club came on the radio after that and said, talked about patience, talked about how they got to back him with patience and time. So, they kind of said how they feel there. And we've just had an FA Cup draw against a tough side, so they've not been turned over 3-0, they've not been dumped out of the cup, but the manner of performance today will hurt, I think, fans. An interesting interview afterwards, where he's talked about the media. I'm sure we'll go on to discuss now. He's talked about the media's part in all of this, and I don't know what you make of that, but it was an interesting one.
Definitely, because it's not always the bravest thing to do to call out the media, but he obviously feels that the way that Shrewsbury have been. To be fair to him, like you said, that they're not in the bottom 4.
No, the record's not bad.
record's not too bad, and I can't help but feel, I just tweeted at full time then, I can't help but feel that some Shrewsbury fans maybe still living off last season. I mean, I think I tweeted it'd take a miracle worker for them to repeat last season. I think John Askey stepped in when fans are wanting a repeat of that, and it realistically, was it ever going to happen?
Yeah, realistically they know it was never going to happen, fans. It's hard to, you know, it was after the Lord Mayor's show, wasn't it? It was a ridiculous, you know, expectations changed when maybe they shouldn't have. Maybe they changed too much. I think, you know, a lot of people have said that, you know, 18th in League One as they are now is par for the course, when I suppose if you put all the budgets out it probably is, and it's where they've been finishing other than last season. But I think people want a little bit more, which is reasonable, isn't it, when you're staying in a division to progress, to
build,
you know, to take higher up, which is evidently still achievable. They're 3 points off 14th. But yeah, the bit about the media, you know, I'd like to think that, you know, whether he's touching on the report from the Sun, which, you know, clearly was written by them and, you know, sourced from them and nothing to do with any local press here, then he's got his views on that. That's fine. The club have come out and said it was all a load of lies. But, you know, myself at the Star and guys on the radio or whatever, you always try and be fair and honest and analyse things. And, you know, if it's a comment piece or an analysis piece, say how you saw the game, which I've done all season. You know, I still say now that, you know, their run of the record has been good over 8 games or 9 games, despite how angry fans are. They're 3 points off mid-table. So, you know, I feel for him, because if you look at it from the outside in, the picture's not dismal. So you wonder why the reaction is like this. You know, you wonder what it is that's making them. You know, we spoke for weeks about him being personable with the fans and coming out and clapping and made a meal of that. And, you know, fans will still remember, of course. But I think we've got to look at the manner of some performances. Like Oxford sticks in mind, the first half at Fleetwood, that some fans are remembering, and, you know, remembering those instead of, for example, Barnsley here, or the second half at Wimbledon last week. And you've got to look at both sides, and that's what, you know, I analyse, you know, the town's performance from both sides and try and be fair, and I think I have been. So yeah, it's hard to hear him calling out the press and media when, you know, obviously got roles to do, but that's how I feel, so fair play.
So it will be a replay then in the FA Cup. For the rest of your Shrewsbury reaction, keep it shropshirestar.com.